Is this Pat?
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, my goodness, where's AJ?
I'm right here.
What's your last name, honey?
Clark?
So this is Mr. and Mrs. Clark?
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
It
this
is.
is the first time I've ever met a couple that are married on the radio.
Get out of here.
It is, it's like the Loch Ness Monster. You don't find it a whole lot.
Boy, do I have questions for you guys.
We have questions for you. Steve Perry, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How's everything there?
That was great. We are doing great. It's a fantastic day in Michigan. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York.
Steve
Really?
Perry, I'm so excited. New music is here. The album is called Traces. Can I tell you how much I love the artwork for the album?
Oh, thank you. That was a guy named Jeff Walk. He's really a talented guy, and I got together with him and wanted to have all the iconic sort of like images that pertain to my life, these memories, these traces of my past.
Yeah.
And so there's all sorts of my life in that entire cover.
So what's
Yeah.
that? So what's that like after? I mean, these days it seems like so many artists are pressured into like pumping out material, and you went ahead and said, "I'm going to take a 20-year break. I'm just going to hang out for a while. I'm going to get inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame," and then so. Where's the story behind that? What took you so long, and what inspired this one?
It wasn't all my plan. It just sort of started to happen when I started living life again,
Yeah.
When I left the group, I went back to my hometown. I bought a Harley. I drove out in the country. There was jackrabbits everywhere. There was fence posts everywhere, and I just was letting the wind blow on my face. And I went to the cemetery to visit my departed relatives and went to the ice cream parlor in my hometown to have ice cream that I used to have when I was a kid, visit some old friends. I needed to reconnect because the ride was an amazing one, but the passion for music that I originally showed up in the band with had left me, and I was really concerned about it. It scared the hell out of me, so I had to get out and go do things that sort of grounded me again.
That's interesting that you felt like going back to your hometown would reignite the passion for music, because I don't, obviously neither one of us live in our hometown either, and we always toy with that, whether or not we'd ever move back home and why, and that's interesting.
Well, the reason I did it was because there was so many memories there. Though my relatives were all departed, there was so many memories there driving down those streets.
Sure.
And how love was our season when we were together as a family, and the neon lights and the whole city, how it had this amazing size to me, but it was a little tiny town about the size of American Graffiti, but in my mind, it was magic, and so I think all the songs come from that era or from my high school days, by the way. A lot of the passion comes from high school days, my songwriting.
Well, a lot of our passions in life, like that's kind of that
where
period.
they originate.
Yeah, that's that period that you want to go back to. So that makes sense. You go back to your hometown, you rediscover those passions, and then the end result is Traces, which by the way, this is how it goes now with albums. It's going to be like everywhere. You buy it in stores. You can stream it on all your different apps. It's a whole new game.
It's a whole new game. And there's 10 songs on the record, but there's actually 15 songs. If you go to steveperry.com, there's a store. And if you go to Target, there's a store that has 15. I mean, there's actually 5 incredible bonus tracks I also love.
I'm the Horn here with Steve Perry, who I do think you could give the world a lesson in civility, because
I'm
serious about this. I'm serious. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. I did not know that you had never met your replacement up until that moment.
No, I met him backstage before I walked out.
Wow.
And I heard that he was just as he's starstruck by you because you're who he wanted to be.
I got to tell you, singers stick together, and because we go through our own neurosis. People think that, we're crazy, but you know what? It is a difficult gig when the instrument is just you, and that's what you're bringing. And he sings his heart out every night, this kid, for the last 10 years, I think. So when I found out from Harry that he was in the hallway, was looking for me, I said, well, I'll come out and say hi. And so we hung out for a bit and talked, and I gave him a shout-out from the stage because, singers go through it.
That is so great because you
Yeah,
hear.
it
I mean,
is.
you hear about the egos. We've dealt with the egos. You've
Yeah.
dealt with the egos.
Isn't that something? It's amazing how, like, for instance, I won't mention anybody, Eddie Van Halen. Anyway, oh, sorry, I just a little congestion. But you know, he came up with the term lead singer's disease.
Yes.
All right. Well, there's only two lead instruments in rock and roll bands, right? They're usually lead guitar and lead singers. So that means whatever the singer's got, the guitar player's got it too.
I think Mr. Van Halen, as we know, has a nice, well-documented past with his lead singer.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
All right. So Steve Perry on the horn here. So you were smart enough to walk away when you lost your passion and then wait until that time was right to jump back into it.
I really wish I could take credit for being smart, but to be honest with you, I think I had no choice. I was out of options. I knew that I had to throw myself into the abyss of walking away from something that I really wanted to do my whole life and just trust that somewhere down the line I'm doing the right thing. And if music came back, great. If it didn't, then so be it. I had to walk with that kind of a conviction. I know that sounds crazy, but to me, that was honest internal conviction. And by only doing that, I believe it came back.
Well, yeah, you had to follow your own path.
Well, and people can sniff that out.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing something that you don't love, people will know, especially when they've been around as long as you have.
All right, we got one last question for you, Steve. Of course, we all want to know, especially here in Michigan and the Flint and Detroit area, tour. Are we touring?
We're talking about that. When I finish the press junket I'm doing right now and talking to everyone, we're probably going to get into the conversations about performing and if I'm going to do it or where I'm going to do it. We're going to get into all that later on.
All right. Well, that's what everyone's going to ask.
That's what
next,
everybody wants to know.
All right. Steve Perry on the horn. The new album is called Traces. Available everywhere now. There's tracks. There's bonus tracks. There's all the tracks. And we couldn't be more humbled to talk to you. So thanks so much for
thank you, Steve.
calling in this morning.
Thank you. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Clark for interviewing me.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Steve.
Okay.